Hey everyone, this is Mark Ryan. Pastor David and I just finished shooting together some videos, and so some of them are on his channel, and then some of the other ones are on my channel. For his channel, we talked about gun rights, the Second Amendment, and just scenarios. Hey, if the government said, hey, you have to give us your guns today, how should a Christian respond to that? What about these red flag laws? What does a Christian do with those? Um, and if the government bans certain weapons, what do we do there even? And so we talk about that on his channel. I'll leave a link to that in the description. And then on my channel, we talk on basically two separate things. We talk on censorship and then the pandemic that's going on with masks and how that's impacting churches and religious freedom. So the Second Amendment on his channel, the First Amendment on my channel, the freedom of speech, which is again censorship, and the freedom of religion. And so make sure that you check out his channel and the one that's coming up next. We cover some interesting things. There's parts of the country where they're saying, hey, if you're Christians, you can't sing. If you're a Christian, you cannot meet indoors or you cannot take communion. San Francisco for a while had it to where you could have one person gather for indoor worship. I think it's changed, but as Christians, how do we deal with that? That's what we'll be talking about in the second part. This one is about censorship, but with that, let's get started.
Okay. You
All right,
ready?
we'll get started. Hey everyone, this is Mark Ryan again with the second part of our series, our collaboration. And be sure to check out David Clayson. I almost called you your other name. David's channel. We talked about guns, we talked about abortion, and then
You have to explain the other name now because they want to know.
Panama. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at college, we'd always call you Panama just because.
Yeah.
No, were you born in Panama?
How do you not know this? I feel like you should know this.
Yeah.
Yes, I was. I was born in Panama.
When did you move?
And then
When
when
did
I
you
was
move
3.
to the United States?
Spokane, Washington when I was 3. Did I?
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I explained this at the beginning of one of our videos last time.
No, you didn't.
I'm pretty sure.
You did not. We didn't
I
talk
thought we
about any of it.
introduced ourselves, didn't we?
Well, you introduced yourself. You didn't say you were born in Panama and stuff.
Well, anyways, you should know that anyways.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, I ruined your intro. So
Yeah. Well, what brought you to the United States anyways?
my dad was in the Air Force, so he got transferred to a base that was close to Spokane, Washington. So,
Oh, okay. That makes sense then. You've told me all this stuff before, but
I have, yes.
yeah. Anyways, so this video we're going to talk about basically censorship on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, social media.
Give us some men who know the truth.
First question kind of, hey, should social media censor people for like bullying, threats, harassment? Any thoughts on that?
Okay, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Should Christian bakers be able to decide who they serve and who they don't serve?
Yes.
Like it or not, social media platforms are private businesses. And so you can't have them choose what they want to do and then have another company not choose what they don't want to do or what you don't want them to do.
Well, so part of the debate though is whether they should be treated as like a publisher or a platform. And so platforms have like unique protections where, hey, everyone can come to our platform. They can give their thoughts, their ideas, and we're not liable for it, really.
Mhm.
Whereas if you're a publisher, then you can choose which speech you want on your, with your group or whatever. And if you don't want conservatives, if you don't want Christians speaking on your platform, then hey, that's the way it is. But then you're responsible for what is put on your platform.
Yeah.
You get unique protections, basically.
I guess I would lean towards publisher then because they are, to me, private business. They're private business. They can do what they want type of thing within reason. That's to me. And so whenever Facebook does the censoring or Twitter does the censoring or you know, I don't know if you know right now, but there's like a Facebook event of a mass exodus from
Yeah.
Facebook going to Parler, which is another social media site or whatever.
No, I was going to bring that up because it's what, November 13th. There's
Yeah,
what, 100,000. I don't know how many thousand
there's
people
almost
doing it.
a million.
A million. That's no. Is it
Maybe that
really a
was a different
million?
group.
I'll
Maybe that
have to
was a
go
different
look at
group.
it. But there's tens and maybe hundreds of thousands of people
Yeah.
looking at doing it. Are you checking it out right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was surprised. I mean, the big thing is going to Parlor, going to MeWe or however you pronounce it. I don't even know how you pronounce it. But
I've
other
heard, yeah, I haven't looked into MeWe. MeWe, I think is what it is actually.
MeWe. Okay. Yeah.
What's it? Is it what's the title of the group? Let me look up just Parlor.
Yeah. And those two platforms, if you haven't heard of them, basically they don't do censorship for the most part. I'm sure maybe if there's pornography or things like that or harassment threats like that, maybe they would censor that, but they're really hands off compared to Facebook nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not
Should
finding it. So,
okay.
but yeah, that's my
But
opinion. Private business.
it's surprising though how many people sign up for that. And well, we can just go to this question. Have you noticed any friends or family going to our alternative platforms like from Facebook, YouTube onto Parlor or different ones?
I have some, not all of them. Some. I think part of that too is because with social media, the ones that they've been on for so long that they've posted a bunch of pictures of it and like a lot of history they look back on. Like I think my current Facebook profile goes back to, like the very first pictures when was my freshman year at Trinity. And so like you're on like the very first
Yeah.
pictures, you were part of them and stuff like that. And that's, you leave Facebook and that's lost, that's gone. And I know there's a way that you can like copy your profile or whatever too, to be able to save it, but not many people want to do that. And so that's why, although they might move to different social media, like I don't think they would deactivate their account. I think they would just be able to log in whenever.
This movement says, hey, we're deleting our Facebook account. The one that I saw, at least, you're deleting your Facebook and we're going to Parlor, to these other platforms, and hey, it's like for good.
Mhm.
And so it's one thing to like delete Facebook, and it's another thing to say, hey, we'll be on both.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I've got 400 some Facebook friends or whatever, and if you go to a different platform, it goes down to, hey, you've got 10, you got 20, you don't have as many for sure.
Have you tried Parlor?
I've been on Parlor. I've been on the new MeWe one, but it's kind of an echo chamber. In my opinion, it's kind of an echo chamber, and I don't really spend any time on it. I spend about 0 time on them, basically.
Yeah, I made a Parlor account a while ago just to check it out, and I was like, I think the same way. And the thing about this is that this isn't something I thought about for a long time. I'm just saying this now, but if this does happen, and it truly does happen, where all these conservatives go to Parlor and it's just liberals on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, it will become an echo chamber. And that is not necessarily a good thing either. I mean, I'm not saying that social media platforms are the best place to debate political stuff, but at the same time, I think that would just end up bringing more division in the nation. And that's not something we need right now.
Yeah. And I think that's maybe one of the movements really is, hey, we're going to chase Christians or conservatives or whatever, that group, off of Facebook, get them onto alternative platforms and everything. And if you're a Christian, well, we're called to be light and everything. And we want to be a light on Facebook, I think, as long as we can, even though we're fed up with with some of their behavior and stuff. I have been, I'll just speak for me. I have been. But hey, I mean, it's really, God has used Facebook and YouTube so much for the gospel and everything. And it's been what, 10, 20 years or so. How long has Facebook existed? Maybe 15 years. The gospel's just been on Facebook, and it's probably impacted a lot of people, even on YouTube and everything too. Next thought though is like election interference. That's the big thing going on right now. And so you've got a lot of people, I know a lot of Christians, they're spreading these election stuff with voter fraud, really. And Facebook is censoring that. Facebook is going to groups and basically saying, hey, your group, you've posted a lot of misinformation. Now you're going to have to approve individual posts. And if it
Yeah.
continues, maybe your group is suspended or something like that. Any thoughts on that?
Again, coming from my view, private business, they're allowed to do whatever they want. But then I think about nonprofits, for example, are not allowed to endorse a specific candidate or anything like that. They're like, whenever if they're going to have rallies or something, it has to be both sides. They're not allowed to keep to one side specifically. And so, but Facebook and Twitter and stuff aren't nonprofits, they're private businesses. And it stinks because honestly, it seems like those were the only two places where you can find some news that isn't from the media or isn't from like mainstream media, but now it's that's not even a place. So where do you go? Where do you go to look? I don't know.
Before social media, I mean, just your news outlets and everything, they're really dominated by the left, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
But on social media, that's been a bastion really for conservatives really to get out their message. And I don't think authoritarians like that. I think that they'll try to get rid of that. I think they'll come against it in the years to come. But let's keep going on. Conspiracy theories. Should Facebook, Twitter, I mean, Alex Jones was deplatformed. Hey, they said, hey, get off of our platform because you're spreading misinformation and stuff. Should they be able to censor even that? Or hey, we don't like your conspiracy theories and stuff, but there's a place for that.
I think that goes to the First Amendment. And are there places where the First Amendment doesn't apply?
And so it's different. Maybe on Facebook, they can decide more for themselves what they want to do.
Well, like, okay, take Facebook. Let's say Facebook is it is a physical company, but a company that you go in and apply to. Let's forget that it's social media. Let's say it's a tech company. Is your freedom of speech regulated in that tech company?
You still have
legally
outlets. Well, you still have other outlets to get your speech, your conspiracy theories out there.
I understand that, but can they, within the company, can they say whatever they want?
A company can make those decisions, but it really goes back to platform versus publisher, because platforms have unique protections that publishers don't have.
I would say maybe at the beginning, Facebook and all these main social media sites were platforms, but they've moved to publishers since then. And maybe these new ones like Parler and MeWe are platforms now. And maybe in the future we'll move to publisher.
Well, maybe they would frame it as, hey, we've got community guidelines and everyone needs to follow our community guidelines, and they're for people's safety and health and different things. Because even with COVID-19, they'll censor a lot of things with that, what they would say, hey, this is misinformation and all that. But then again, it kind of tends to add fuel to the fire and everything, because, oh, they're suppressing this. They're suppressing the truth is what others will say.
Yeah.
But then they start spreading it, and it spreads more like fire in a sense.